4 jornalistas de diferentes contextos devem sobreviver a uma disputa presidencial que promete ser acirrada e cheia de reviravoltas, marcada por muito drama, mas também muita comédia. Essa é a proposta da nova série original do Streaming Max, As Garotas do Ônibus, Jornalistas de Campanha, protagonizada por Melissa Benoist e Carla Gugino, e que ainda conta com Scott Foley, Griffin Dunne e Brandon Scott no elenco. Nessa comédia dramática, essas 4 jornalistas de política devem acompanhar os principais candidatos à presidência dos Estados Unidos, enquanto navegam por um território incerto, repleto de dilemas morais, éticos e até mesmo pessoais. Ao longo dessa trajetória, Sadie, Grace, Lola e Kimberly criarão um forte elo de amizade, à medida em que também tentam romper barreiras e desafios da vida pessoal, enquanto solidificam seu espaço em uma área bem ardilosa. E o Cinepop teve a oportunidade de entrevistar o astro Scott Foley. Conhecido por seu famoso histórico nas telinhas com Scandal e Felicity, ele bateu um papo sobre As Garotas do Ônibus e ainda comentou sobre seu enorme sucesso nessas 2 clássicas séries. Hi, Scott. How are you?
Hi, Rafa. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Congratulations on the show. Something tells me that you have, I don't know, sort of a passion for political shows, right?
You would think so based on Scandal and now this. I never saw it that way. I've just found scripts that I thought were interesting and characters that I thought were fun to play. But yes, between Scandal and playing Jake Ballard, who was first a spy, then a political sort of monster, and now Hayden Wells Garrett, it seems that I don't know, what the hell am I doing? It's crazy.
I don't know, but I have to say it's working because I love political shows and I think you are amazing in The Girls on the Bus. And as you told me, something draws you to those kind of characters. So please tell me, what made this character so interesting to you?
I was approached by the showrunner, Rena Mamoon, who I'd worked with before, and she said, "We're doing this show," and she told me the backstory of it, and she said, "The character doesn't have a name yet, but we're calling him Hot White Guy." And I thought, I don't know if that's the character I really want to play. And it was about 3 or 4 episodes in before they came up with his actual name, which was Hayden Wells Garrett, and I thought, like, wow, that's a pretty white name too. But it was, look, these characters are, at least in my opinion, they're complex, and that's what makes them fun to play. Anytime you get to play someone who is maybe walking a line between politically correctness and corruptness, there's something interesting there. And I read the book that this is based on. It's called Chasing Hillary by Amy Chozick, and it's a fantastic account of her being on the political trail, following Hillary Clinton for years. And I just thought it was so interesting and something I wanted to be a part of.
Did you have any sort of reference in terms of creating your character? Like, did you, I don't know, did some research in terms of politicians, other figures that you maybe found like, okay, maybe I can take something from this character, something from that figure, and to create your own persona?
Yeah, I did. This character I based fairly loosely on Pete Buttigieg, who was a major player in the last political election. And because he was a small town mayor that no one really knew about, and that's the character I was playing. And I did a lot of research on interviews that he did and the way that he spoke to the media, and the way that he got his name out there was really important. And as just a normal television viewer, someone who watches the electoral race on television, I never sort of see the behind the scenes, or I never paid attention. And they're all fighting for attention. And that was so interesting to me, because if you don't have the attention, if you don't have the media talking about you and the camera on your face, no one's going to vote for you. So that was a lot of the research I did with regards to this guy.
We can totally see that when we are watching the show. I used to work at politics as well as a journalist in politics, publicist as well. So I was always like behind the scenes working with politicians, especially mayor. I was the publicist of 2 mayors. So like I completely understand that environment. I love politics. I mean, I loved politics. I'd rather be working with movies, but I love TV shows and movies about politics because this is where I started my profession as a journalist. And we see that a lot in her character, that charismatic guy that he seems like the new guy in town, but at the same time, he has his own history as a politician. And we also have the twist of the comedy in this show, which it differs from other political shows because we are more used to watch more dramatic and more like a very suspenseful political show. So please tell me about that, how you managed to work the drama and the comedy in your character, but also not only in your character, with all the other characters with you.
First of all, I appreciate that that's where you started, because you understand, like, getting someone's face out in front of the media is so important, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the comedy of this show, that was what really drew me to it. You know, the show is, yes, it takes place around an electoral race, but it's really about these four women sort of leaning each other. It's about found family. And anytime you're dealing with relationships, most political shows, like you said, whether it be The West Wing or Scandal, it's very intense, it's very suspenseful, it's very dramatic. But when you're talking about relationships, man, it's no fun if there's not any comedy. You have to lighten things up, especially in heavy situations like a political election. So that, I think, is what sort of sets us apart. I hope that's what sets us apart.
Nice. And what about working with the female actors? How was it for you working, especially with Melissa Benoist? How was that for you?
It was great. You know, I'd known her really only from Supergirl, but she was a true professional and fun and light. You always look to the sort of lead actor or actress on a show to set the tone. And some shows can be very serious if they're wound too tight and take this too seriously. She was relaxed and charismatic, but a true professional. Carla Gugino is an actress that I've wanted to work with and respected for years, and to get the chance to do it was amazing. The other two ladies are younger and newer to the scene, but they were true professionals. Everyone was great. You know, I got to be with Griffin Dunn, who was in one of the first movies I ever remember seeing, in American Werewolf in Paris, in London. It was a great experience. I got to say, everyone really brought their A game.
When you look back at your story as an actor, I have to say that I grew up watching Felicity. That was one of the shows that made me want to work with movies and TV shows. When you go back to your story as an actor and you see, like, not only your evolution, professionally speaking, but especially all the work you have done, especially with Scandal and now The Girls on the Bus, how do you feel about that? Like, when you think about it, like, do you pinch yourself like, oh my God, look at that, how long I've come?
You know, I'm 51 years old, and I am so proud of the work that I've done, television and films. And, you know, I look behind me and I still have, you can't see it, I'm going to back out here for a second. I mean, I still have, like, you know, the Felicity DVDs here. I'm so proud of all my work. And I think, you know, I think there are people who sort of, it was behind me, or it's just TV, and it's my life's work. And I think everything I've done is, you know, leads to the next, and is part of what makes me me. And I never wanted to do anything else but be in television and films and be on the stage. And I've got to do that. And I support my family. And man, I feel like I'm the most fortunate person in the world. And especially when I talk to someone who says, like, I grew up watching Felicity, it fills my heart. And, you know, I didn't write it or create it, but I was a part of its success. And to hear that, thank you. It means a lot.
That's so nice of you, and what a beautiful thing you said, because, like, I completely agree with you. Those shows not only helped you craft your work as a professional, but also brought you to this moment after
Right.
Scandal, which was a huge phenomenon, and it's still one of the most beloved shows in Brazil, and now Girls on the Bus. So it's so nice to know that. And first, just to wrap our interview, for you, what makes this show so compelling, not only for girls to watch, but also for the general public? Because, as I told you, I love politics. I love shows about politics, and I had such a blast watching the show, because we have strong female characters, we have strong male characters, and all of them, they support each other in their own story. So please, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that's exactly right, and I think that's what makes it so compelling. I think the fact that it is a comedic story about found family, and I'm a product of that. I have my family consists of the people I've worked with and friends I've gathered all around, and we have every year here there's a holiday called Thanksgiving, and the day after Thanksgiving we have a Friendsgiving where we have all of our friends over, and this is sort of what that show is about. It's about a group of strangers coming together and leaning on one another, and I love that. And it happens to be in the political world, in the political realm, and it's a great backdrop to do that in.
Look sweet and cuddly, but really you're a fucking killer. to being stuck on that bus with you crazy bitches.
Yeah.
All eyes on me.